This video is slightly different. It's on dating and relationships, and it's tips for men. Surprising coming from me, but I've learned quite a lot over the last few years on myself, my own experiences, and some of the stories from my clients and people close to me in my life. But there's a key thing that keeps showing up, and when we meet certain people in our lives, there's still things lacking from our own life. And I'll explain that a bit more. But the fundamental rule is that you need to get yourself at your best self for you to be okay with everything else that comes your way. And when you're meeting other people, you're going to notice that they're not the same as you. And there's going to be things that you don't agree on. There's going to be things that you really connect on. And then there's going to be everything in between. And this is what makes it exciting when you meet different people. But still, the fundamental thing comes back to you. And there's been a lot of things that I've picked up over the last few years. So I wanted to start with the word your best self. And this for me was a game changer. When I realized this and what that actually meant, then I could let go of all these things that were stressing me. So your best self, you want to try to think, if you was to close your eyes now and just think, what would my best self look like? Like where I am right now in my life, what would my best self look like? And when you ask these sort of questions, you start realizing where maybe you're lacking or where you believe that you're lacking. You'll notice where you're really well and performing and what you are happy with. And there's certain things you just won't even go to or don't even know about. But when you meet other people, there's going to be things that they value more in life than others. And sometimes we meet people and we have very, very similar outlook on things. We have the same interest in things, but you're still so different. And this is where I think people miscalculate people, is because when we first meet someone, we are basing a lot of our stuff on attraction. And it's the things that we're happy and we talk about and we connect with them things. It's only when you start getting to know someone on a bit of a deeper level and you start seeing, I guess people would say, falling through the cracks, but you see all the things that maybe you're not so impressed with. Their cleanliness, their habits, their punctuality, their beliefs. That takes a lot longer to manifest. So I believe that we meet people at the right point in our lives and that right person will come. So if we're not in the best of places or we got things missing or we're going through a bad patch at the moment, someone else very similar will meet you and you'll connect. And there'll be things that you really resonate on and share, especially the pain and the drama. And then you end up getting with each other, but that is the right person for you at that time. And we do bump into a lot of people, we call it synchronicity, but there's certain points in your life where you bump into them and you look back and think, oh, everything changed from that moment. So is to almost think like, if you can be your best self at all these different attributes of what you believe is important, and then finding out what other women think are important, and you keep working on them, at least you're improving. At least when something else shows up that they're not impressed with, at least you know, okay, I know that, but I'm working on it. And that's cool. Another thing to realize is if you're doing your best in all these different things, that's good. Because you're never going to be the best at each given thing. There's always going to be someone better looking than you. There's always going to be someone fitter than you. There's always going to be someone smarter than you. But overall, if you just are just pretty, and that's all you got, your just looks, you become very boring after a while to most people. If you're very clever, you only can connect with certain things, but other stuff in the life maybe won't resonate with other people. So if you look at your life and then just think, right, how can I be more fuller and aware of all these different points? And at least show it interest in it. At least try to find out what it is and then make that decision, do I want to go down there or not? And the reason why I think it's important to understand all this, because the right woman might come around at that right time, but they are so passionate about nutrition. They are so passionate about dancing, or they're so passionate about certain elements of history. If you have no clue about any of them at all, you might miss that right person walking by at that time. But also the best self, and this is the key part. if you're showing up as your best and you know and you're content with everything you're doing, and in my case now, if I'm made aware of something that didn't have a clue about before, I now can make that decision. Should I now work on that? Do I want to improve on that in my life? And I get to have that choice. So it's to almost be like, right, you get to have that choice and work on yourself. And when you know you're doing that, then you realize that they are a completely separate person to you. And there's going to be certain things that they don't agree with. There's going to be certain things that they literally can't stand the way that you're doing it. If you know now you're working on it, and you know certain things, you're never going to be a good dancer. You can be okay with that. Then you don't have to fight and argue and try to defend yourself, because that's your ego. And you can just accept it. That's cool. That's not my strength, but these are my strengths, all of these, not just one or two. And that's when acceptance comes in. And then you can start letting go of trying to be the best of everything just to impress this person, where you can be the best at you on all these different roles. And you can be okay with that. There's certain elements where people are going to have a lot more favour to other people they connect with. They love the dance and stuff. And yes, you can get involved with that world. But don't let it get you down. Don't try to fight and do something just to impress. Because the key part, guys, is that they are with you, or they're dating you, or they're meeting up with you because they're interested. And sometimes you meet someone the first time and everything goes right. You think they're incredible, you think they like you, you have a kiss at the end. And then after that, they don't text you back. And you're like, how? And then you start texting them again, and you start getting panicky. Then you start questioning yourself. And then this crazy person turns up. And you're looking for the blue tick. Oh my God, they read my message, they haven't got back to me. Then you send another message. And you're like, oh, why have I sent that message? What have I done? Oh, that's too much. And you're doing all this to yourself. And then you're on stories on Instagram, and you're posting stories which you wouldn't normally post before, just in case they're watching. These are all common things, and we all do this. But think about what you're doing inside. You're being a crazy person. Here's some advice, and again, if they're not ready, you can't do anything about that. I think the key part is you show up as your best. It was a great day and things went well. You've then showcased that you are interested, and you've maybe given some compliments and stuff, and then that's it. And then maybe you send another message a bit later down the line. If they don't get back to you, that's on them. And usually if it's right, they will get back to you. And if they don't get back to you, they might have something else going on in their life. You don't know. But being this crazy person, when they actually could be generally really busy or being occupied with something else, that could ruin everything. Because of your insecurities, that you're having to do all that to try and impress. But if you know now, right, you're being your best at all these things and you're constantly working, you're constantly growing, yes, you might read that person and that you really want to see them again. But if you carry on doing what you're doing, that's the reason why they were attracted to you in the first place, and you continue doing that. And just to show that this is me, I'm not doing this just to impress, this is what I do all the time, these are my values. When they're ready, they'll see all this. And they'll tick all these boxes as well as all the other good features about yourself. And it's going to give you a better chance of getting the right person. But it's also going to make you feel a lot more at ease. You don't have to be stressing and panicking, being that crazy person. Because that crazy person, imagine you're doing all that and they're literally just with their family. Their family hasn't been in UK for a while and they're just catching up. And you're going, oh my God, she's read my text and da-da-da-da, and you're just driving yourself mental. And then you want to text again. And they're just generally busy. Imagine if she was in your house whilst you were doing that. Who's she texting? Oh my God, she hasn't got back to me. She's not even looking at me. I wonder who she's talking to. If you were doing that, going around doing all this, they think you're a nutcase. But yet, inside your head, you're being a nutcase. So it's to be okay with that. You're going to meet a lot of people and everything went to plan. Everything was amazing. And then they don't get back to you. That's okay. I think it takes more strength to continue and be like, right, let me just get on myself. Make it clear you like them. That's a key part. And then maybe be a bit persistent with it, because women do like persistence. Don't be needy. Don't be naggy. Don't show this person that's not you, because they don't want to see that. They don't want to see that at all. So the next part is to make sure that you are being yourself, and then to realize that when they're not ready, that's their choice. That's their opinion. There's nothing you can do about it. So to take that and beat yourself up with and feel sorry for yourself and get depressed because finally you met someone that really seemed to get you and you enjoyed the conversation, that's self-suffering. And just know that they did enjoy it. They actually at that point had a really good night and you did get a kiss. But maybe something else has just shown up in their life that they're not ready for it at the moment. So it's to be patient and be okay with that, and to know that this life you're going to meet plenty more people. And you're working on being your best self throughout this. You're going to meet a lot more people along that journey that are also trying to be their best self and also moving forward in life. And just to be okay with it doesn't have to happen right now. And also you're very different to everyone else. So if they are people in your close circles and your family are settling down and having kids and stuff, yes, it would be amazing to have all that. But at this moment in time, work on yourself, keep bettering yourself, and then that right person will show itself. Another thing is assumptions. Assumptions can be one of the most dangerous things you can ever do. I was with a woman that I love, and I went away and we had an argument. And we was in another country and someone come over and started speaking in their language. And I'm just sitting there on the beach, normally just chilled out. I'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna just watch and lay down, sunbathing a bit. And they're talking for ages, good looking chap. So I'm now getting these different thoughts in my head. What are they talking about? Why would she do this to me? We just had an argument. Is he flirting with her? What's he saying? And then I'm like, actually relax. I'm getting up. Should I say something? She's not even paying attention to me. Like, this is so rude. This is not fair. Oh, I need to say something. I need to be a man. I'm going to do... All these things are going through my head. And again, I know that that's my agenda. It's not anyone else. I don't need to project that onto anyone. Provided I said one thing then, I laid back down and let it go. And after she turned around and went, oh my God, that was an amazing conversation. And she told me about the person she was speaking to had been through a lot and complaining about a lot in life. And it's almost like she was giving him a pep talk, a proper pep talk. Actually quite inspiring when she was telling me. And then I was like, wow, this woman's incredible. And if I would have gone with my first initial assumption and all these different voices in my head, and again, your thoughts are not truth, but a lot of time we go and react, knee-jerk reaction straight away. If I'd have done any of that, I'd have lost the chances of being this woman. Definitely. I'd have showed this horrible side, that crazy inner person. And we got to stop doing the assumptions. Assumptions are terrible. It means we're not being present. We're focusing on what they could have said or what they do think and what they're doing now and who they're with. And think of that energy you're wasting. And it's difficult. It is really difficult, especially when you meet someone that you really like. Especially when you haven't been with someone for a long time and you feel like, wow, this person is the right one. But remember, they're only going to grow to love you if you're loving yourself. And if you're working on yourself and you've got all these plans, that's quite inspiring. And imagine if that person doesn't want to do and go along with all these plans, and that's what you want to do. Do you really need that person in your life holding you back? So at least you can make these decisions being in control and just knowing, right, I've got myself going. I'm happy here. If the right person comes along, I'm going to take that opportunity up. And then just know that life will continue, keep throwing things at you, and it's going to get more exciting the more you grow. Another good bit of advice. When you meet someone, focus on what you're doing now and what you've got going on and what your plans are for the future. Let's come away from just talking about what you've done before and what you've got and what you've had. Because that's your past. It's great to share these, but it's also important to share what's coming up. Because if you're going to be with someone, it's the life and the future you've got ahead together, not the past. Remember, everyone has a bit of a dark past. Everyone has moments in there that we are not happy with, we regret, we have guilt. So if we're going back into all these different things, which again, I think is important to connect with people, to understand who they were. It doesn't define them. And it's to also be okay and not get caught up. Yes, they might have had a bad past, but find out what the last few years have been like. Has there been this complete new change? And that saying where people don't change, that's, I think, false. When you become present, you understand what is important. People do change. And when you start focusing on what it is that you really want, you now go and change everything. I am a prime example of that. I've given up alcohol for 3 years now. My whole life has changed. I've gone down a spiritual route and I'm in an amazing place. I'm super happy. I'm learning all the time. I'm growing. I'm connecting with people, the right people that make me genuinely happy as well. And now I'm teaching. I'm traveling around the world doing this. And it's all because I keep trying to now work on me, my best self, and focus on all these different things that we do as my best self. Being confident with me as a person. So when I am having these conversations with people, I come across more confident, more authoritative. And they like that. Because everyone in life likes to follow someone that has a plan. And it's quite interesting that you see a lot of these people who are successful talk about their plan and their goals, and they all put that in place. And a lot of us, including myself, were lost for ages because we didn't have a plan. We knew what we were good at, we knew what we wanted to work on, we knew what we kind of wanted. We didn't know how to do it. We didn't have structure. And it's only been the last few months where I've started having a lot more clarity in terms of what I want for me to then make that plan. And within that, I know that if I continue being my best self, that right woman will come my way too. I'm confident in that. And that's the important thing. It's the confidence. And that all then falls back on you. Everything that you do now comes back to you. Your own choices, your decisions, your past. You can learn from it now and look back and reflect and think, did I need to react like that? Was that the right choice? What would I do differently next time? And then it be okay, like that's gone now, what am I doing now? And it's constantly reassess, let go, move on. And that's an exciting way to be. So let's now focus on yourself, like rank yourself. Would you date yourself? And if you write down all these different things that you believe important, now rank yourself, 0 being the absolute worst, 10 being the absolute best. What would you rank yourself out of 10? And let's remove the ego now. Let's say that dream woman is in front of you and you ask her the same question. What would she rank you out of 10 for that one thing? See if there's any difference in your answers. And then what comes up for you might give you some insights, might give you some things to focus on, might give you some choices. What is serving you right now and what needs to change? But again, all this comes back to you identifying, becoming aware and making the choices for you. And just know, guys, when you're doing this and you're learning about yourself and you get excited and you're sharing the stories and the right person comes along and they walk into the bar and they sit down with you and they're like, this guy is interesting. He's got loads going on. He's talking about all these different topics. He's got quite deep. He's funny because we're learning. And the more we learn, the more stories we can share. And that's what makes it exciting. So I believe that 2021, for the single guys out there and the guys that are just getting into relationships, focus on yourself this year. Work on self-development. Work on your health. Work on your mindset. Work on the words that you use. And just watch all the good things will come your way when you can do that. So my name's Harry Thomas. I am a coach. I do work quite a lot in relationships and child development. And I've got some really cool stuff, especially focus on your inner work, your self-development, and giving you a bit more clarity in terms of what your future life, that life that you want, the life that you actually deserve, looks like. And then I'll show you how you can get there Well, you'll show me how you get there, and you'll believe it all and get excited about the next few years ahead.